Porky's Corner is proud to be sponsored by Spartan Site Solutions. They are specialists in civil engineering and demolition contracts for the construction industry. Interested parties should visit their website or contact Porky's Corner for a referral at porkycorner@mail.com.
Hello all you hardcores out there, how are you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, biggest gob in sport. We say the things on here that nobody dare say, all right? So we're just waiting for Mikey, the West Brom fan, to log in. He'll be here any second. Here he is, Michael, the West Brom fan from the Black Country. Women love him, men want to be him. Yet again, he's back. He's back. What's this, 8th time fucking lucky? Oh, have you pressed the brake button this time?
How you doing, Russell?
Are you off your head or something, you like?
Oh, no, mate. Sorry about that. I was joining the meeting and then my phone rang.
Yeah, well, listen, if it rings again, you're out at Porky Circle. That's the bottom line, kid.
You tell my missus that, mate.
I'm not bothered about your missus. I don't give a shit. Just turn it off while you're on here. Tell your missus to get gone if she needs a lift anywhere or out. Get a taxi. How you been,
You
mate?
right?
You all right?
Yeah, I've been good, mate. You?
I'm a bit good at David Souls died. You know, Hutch out Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, he's a bit old for me, but yeah, I get what you say.
He were 81. He's had a good knock, hasn't he?
Yeah, I don't really ever watch that, but I've literally just turned 32 about a week ago.
Have you? Well, he were 81. Oh, he's 81 this year, David. So I'm just gutted that. I've got a 1976 Starsky and Hutch end of year annual at home. When I was a kid. I've got Beano Dandy, all them annuals, because that's what you used to get in the 70s and 80s, you know, as a kid.
Yeah,
now,
for a present.
Yeah, they give them like your aunties and uncles and grandmas give them all, I don't know, iPads or Xbox games, but it wasn't like that in when I was growing up, and that. It was so much simpler in them days. But I suppose it comes to us all, doesn't it? But he was a big superstar, wasn't he? He had #1 singles. He were in films, Clint Eastwood films, and he was in that Salem's Lot. I've got that here, you know, on a DVD. I'm going to watch it this week. Salem's Lot. It's a really scary film, but you can get it on YouTube, I've been told. But yeah, I think it's a bit sad, really. Do you? Right.
Yeah, what happens to loads of people, doesn't it? The older you get, the more people you know that are dying, unfortunately, isn't it?
Bob Arum's still here.
I don't know how he's still going, man. He's about 90 odd, isn't he?
Well, that's what they say, don't you? If you smoke weed, keeps you living longer, doesn't it?
I'll be all right then.
You'll be all right then. I won't. I'm jacked. Right.
You've stopped, haven't you?
I've stopped, and yeah, I'm gone on training, but I'm enjoying it. Like, yeah, I'm really not super fit, but I think probably a couple of months off being really fit. Like, I'm enjoying it. It's quite addictive, actually. When I used to knock about with Mickey Theo, I used to go to mix, and he'd be like, get up at 5 in the morning, and he had a gym like on an own built on his land, very nice thing, like in a log cabin thing. And he used to train at 5 and then take his dogs out at 6 for an hour, but he trained every day, and I can understand how it's addictive. So I train every day now. Well, I try to Monday to Friday, and I trained today as well, like, which I didn't really want to, but I like tossed it off yesterday. So, but I was speaking to my mate Bunny, and he's same sort of thing. Bunny Johnson, if anybody wants to give him a shout out, he's doing personal training in Sheffield. He used to train Huey, strength and conditioning. But hey ho, so rest in peace, David Sowell. Crusher Ben, he's fighting Peter Dobson. What do you make of it all, Michael?
Not impressed, to be honest. Obviously, Eddie's just trying to hide him abroad, isn't he? Basically, obviously, he's not getting a license to box in the UK, and he's already done all his interviews, Eddie, and said Conor will fight in Britain, and we want to get his license, and we want to get it sorted, and this and that. And he had obviously Wembley booked and Tottenham Stadium booked for the Eubank fight. And then they're saying, "Oh, Eubank doesn't want it anymore." But I actually reckon probably the board have told Eubank that he can't. They won't sanction it. Basically, that's what I reckon. And he's hanging out for the Billy Joe Saunders fight. So now Conor's hiding in America, fighting a nobody again, isn't he?
Yeah. Peter Dobson, it's like some bloke who works as a funeral director in Huddersfield, isn't it? Well, what's going on here?
I don't know. I haven't really researched him or looked at it, to be honest, because obviously, like, he's not really a big name, is he? So we promised Conor Benn we're going to have some big fights this year, and he's fighting Peter Dobson. So
He's going out there with the Romford Bull, Crusher Ben, Johnny Fisher. He's going to be going out with the Bosch Army. Do you think they're taking him out there just to beef numbers up in crowd, kind of thing, just to make Ben look a bit special?
yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because obviously, to be fair to him, Johnny Fisher, he sells a hell of a lot of tickets and that, doesn't he? So if they put Johnny Fisher on is he on the undercard then? Yeah.
Well, it's only that Essex lot that can afford to keep flying out there, isn't it?
Yeah. If they put him on the undercard, he's going to boost the numbers up, like you said, isn't it? So it's quite clever, really, isn't it? But it's just
No, it's
ridiculous.
not clever. It's like if somebody like me can see it, they go. Here we go again.
Well, I've just looked at this Peter Dobson on BoxRec, and 3 fights ago, 4 fights ago, he was fighting the guy 27 wins, 37 losses, and 2 draws. So there you go. That tells you all you need to know. He's 33 years old, American geezer. Well, do you know what I mean?
Somebody sent me in a video. I think they pinned it on comments section on one of my videos, and it's Frankie Gavin doing an interview yesterday. I forgot the channel, but I am a subscriber. Is it ESSR Boxing or something? Is he a Brummy kid?
Yeah.
No, well, I
Yeah.
subscribe to his channel. I like him actually. I don't subscribe to many. He's one of them. And I saw an interview with Frankie Gavin, and I met Frankie Gavin several times. He's a really nice kid. I had him up at office up at Dennis's. That I actually made an IBO world title fight for him off my own back. I'm quite proud as punch I was. The first world title fight I were involved in, and he got pulled with 2 weeks to go. So you can imagine how upset I was. Steam coming off my ear holes, can't you? But with that Errol Johnson who pulled it, not Dennis. I think they both pulled it between them, but
He does
no tickets, Frankie.
he does Black Country Boxing. He does that
Errol Johnson. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's all right. Like, he just got pulled. It's all about financials and that. I was devastated. But when he came up, I think his trainer might have been somebody called Dean, and that the first time I met him, they were lovely people. He's a lovely kid, Frankie. Obviously, Dennis, because he tried to sign him on an aeroplane going to Olympics. Do you know what I mean? In 2008, Dennis bought all Olympic team, tag watchers, all of them. None of them signed
Well,
with. You've got to respect Dennis for having a go, haven't you?
it's all about the finances, like you said, and at that level and stuff. So.
Well, they went to Bricktop, didn't they? He was the man then, money in 08, and at the time, there were only really Dennis and Mick Hennessy sticking it on Bricktop. Barry Earn had more or less folded Matchroom at that stage at game. Do you know what I mean? He'd been hard at game. Well, they were still doing bits and bobs, but it were really, really tiny stuff. They were not special. They just kept a couple of fights. They didn't have that many fighters, did they? But I think best fight.
He was a brilliant boxer, that Frankie Gavin, wasn't he, to be fair to him?
Yeah. Why do you always speak over me, when I'm talking?
I thought you'd stopped. It's like it goes off and then I talk and then you carry on because I can't see you, so I don't know what you're doing because you've got your bloody little photo on in the CP jacket or whatever it is.
my CP company card.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're a present off somebody who I don't see now, but hey ho. So I like Frankie Gavin, and for him to come out and say Crusher Ben's a cheat.
Yeah.
So it is what it is, isn't it? I like him. I just think it's a shame how it's ended up with this Conor Benn debacle because it's still there, isn't it? It's like an elephant in room, Michael, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's so funny because, like, you look at that, what you've just compared, obviously, Frankie Gavin. He was like, fantastic boxer, couldn't really punch, didn't try, couldn't diet. But if he did try, he would have reached higher levels. But he obviously clearly didn't cut corners and cheat and do steroids or nothing, because if you looked at him, he literally looked like a fat kid, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? He never had a six pack, even when he'd been training for fights. He couldn't punch, whatever. So you could tell he was never one of them that would cheat. So for him to come out and say, like, Conor Benn's a cheat, directly and bluntly like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, he obviously hates it, doesn't he? Because he probably sits there in his room. Some part of him, deep down, probably sits there in his room and thinks, what would I have been like if I'd have been on the gear? Do you know what I mean?
You know, Frankie Gavin, he'll go down as an enigma and one of my favourite fighters for years. He'll go down as an enigma. Do you know why?
What
Because
was that?
he won that gold medal in Chicago in 2007, you know, in World Championships, he won it at a canter. He never even got out second gear. He breezed through them all. I mean, it was like mesmerising. And then when I remember he fought Curtis Woodhouse for WBO trinket belt or whatever it were.
Yeah.
It were like it was touch and go whether Kurt were going to get this. I think it might have been a split. I think it was a split decision. And I remember Barry McGuigan after said that Frankie Gavin's going to go down as one of the biggest wastes of talent that this country's ever produced. Because he were nailed on for Olympic gold in 08 and he couldn't make weight, could he?
Yeah.
Then he should have gone really further than British champion, really, Frankie Gavin. I know he had a pay-per-view with Kelbrook and that, but he should have been a world champion. His skills were like extraordinary, like Billy Joe's.
You look at the quality of boxer he is. For him, he had a massive underachieving career, didn't he?
Yeah, when I think about it, I think sometimes it's not their fault, these talented guys. I mean, everybody knows the story, don't they, about Billy Joe taking a police chase down Hatfield in Sheffield from EIS with Frankie Gavin, and I think they nabbed them up near Junction at M1 or something, and they blasted through Atticliffe. I think they got him in a roadblock or something. I don't know what was going on there, but I heard it didn't go down well with Terry Edwards and them. But I sometimes wonder if the fighters like that at that age, they need somebody with them all the time, just to not chaperone them, but they need saving from themselves. Do you think, Michael?
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think Billy Joe Saunders in a room with Frankie Gavin's a recipe for disaster, and it would go for their personalities. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, who would have thought? Who would put what sort of England team manager or whatever were going on up there at the time? We'll put them in the same room. You'd put Frankie Gavin in with somebody like Gary Neville, wouldn't you? And you
Yeah.
put Joe in with somebody, you know, like Jordan Henderson, you know, some company man or something, wouldn't you?
Roy Keane.
Or Phil Neville.
Yeah. Not together. Oh man.
It's unbelievable. This Saudi thing, right? How long do you think it's going to be there for, Michael? This Saudi money.
I don't really know, but according to what they say, they can literally just it's like printing money off, and they've got more money there than what we could ever dream of. So I don't really know, but like that thing, what they're saying about sport washing and that, like they're trying to basically just like own all sports. What they're doing with the golf, what they're doing now, something with the tennis. They've bought Newcastle, they've bought Man City. So I don't know really, but I don't blame the fighters for it really, because if it was me, I'd be over there boxing as well.
Would
Do you know
you?
what I mean? Yeah. If
Yeah,
you're risking to fight somebody that's like dangerous, like Wilder or a big fight or whatever, and they're going to pay you 5 million quid to box at Wembley, or 10 million quid to box in Vegas, or 50 million to box over there, I'd be over there as well. I would.
would you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because look at Jordan Henderson. He's on the equivalent of 750 a week. If you were in England, it's the equivalent of 750 a week over there. He's on like, is it 35 million or something a year or something? Something like that.
Yeah.
Let's work it out. What we've got here? 750 grand top line. That's the equivalent times 104 week. Now 100 is 75 million. What on earth's that? and then 78 million quid. Is that what he's on, Henderson? 78 million for 2 years, and he's wanting to come back because it's hot. And what is all that about?
He's from Sunderland, though, isn't he? So it don't get very hot up there, does it?
Hey?
He's from Sunderland, isn't he? So it doesn't get very hot up there. He won't be used to the weather, will he? But I don't know. The level of the sport over there is awful, isn't it? Like, obviously, boxing's different, though, isn't it? Because obviously they're boxing people from around the world and that. But he's playing a football game over there, Jordan Henderson, in front of 2,000 people. You get more crowds at like Doncaster Rovers or whatever. Do you know what I mean? He was playing for Liverpool before in front of 40, 50,000 every week, 60,000 in the Champions League, whatever. And then their league over there gets 2,000 people going. I'd still stay for 2 years for the money if I was him, but it's up to him, innit? Like, he went for the money. I don't know what he expected. That's the thing. That's what I don't understand. Like, if you go in over there, you know it's going to be crap. So, like, you go in over there knowing it. So the thing, I'm surprised he's like wants to come back because he's shocked at what it's like over there. Like, you go in for the money and that's it. Do you know what I mean? That's my opinion, anyway.
Bernard got 5 million just to sign, didn't he? He stuck it out.
Yeah,
Didn't he?
yeah,
So
I know.
they've gone for money, haven't they? Do you know what I mean?
Do you know
5
if I was
million before you even start.
if I was a manager in football, I'd want to get the sack everywhere I went because they get paid millions of pounds when they're sacked. It's amazing, isn't it?
Gerrard will be coming back here, right, with enough money to buy Tranmere Rovers or something, won't he? Well, this is
Yeah,
how I
maybe.
look at it. It's craziness, isn't it? The money out there. And you know, when I look at it all, think for me that, plus I like my arms and legs and I'm mouthy. I won't be able to go out there and be me. I couldn't get away with it out there. No way, mate. I'd be in court and lot.
Be
They'd be
flogged in
calling
the
me
sleep.
Flipper, wouldn't they? A bit bloke with one arm. I'd come back. Look at Flipper over here with one arm bandit. So no, it's not for me. My uncle worked out there in Saudi in the 70s doing swimming pools, and he said it were hot. But for 78 million top line, I mean, tax on that. Let's say he's going to clear in 2 years. They reckon he'll clear 48 million, right? So what's his problem?
They don't pay tax over there, does he? There's no tax.
No, it's the equivalent of after 2
Mm.
years. It's the equivalent of if you were top end the tax over here. I've seen it on Talksport. They're all talking about it now. But do you think at the moment on Talksport we've got a GAD overload in the last 48 hours? Have you seen it?
I haven't listened to the radio the last 2 days. To be fair, I've been down south for the last couple of days, but I have saw him getting his head everywhere lately. To be fair, I think there's about 6 interviews of him in the last week on YouTube, isn't there? He had that big half-an-hour interview about transgender people in boxing. Then he was obviously out putting his 2p in about Joshua and Ngannou. Then he did one on Fury and Usyk, and obviously you've just said he's been on Talksport, so maybe he's not doing very well and he's trying to stay relevant. I don't know. I like him. I do. I think he's funny.
You weapon. What are you going to tell me next? That you're a big fan of Bean?
Nah.
Do you think Bean should come back?
No.
No. Do you think Bean's had his day?
Yeah, I think so.
You know, my argument with that Bean thing, Julian don't like it when I mention this because he's a Bean fan. I'm a sort of Bean fan, but this is how I look at it. If you're going to say, right, and everybody knows he had a gambling problem, but if you're going to say you were in rehab and you've had cancer and you've left Sky because of that, fair enough. But you're saying you're leaving Sky because you want to try other opportunities. And then you're going to be doing interviews on Talksport and other low-level YouTube channels. You like that one? And if you're going to do these interviews on these low-level arse-licking YouTube channels, and you're going to be saying you're open to offers for commentary in boxing, well, that's the same job as what you were before. So why are you not doing it at Sky? Why don't they just come out and say we've paid his contract up because we couldn't have him back at Sky because he's a gambler, and if it ever come out that he was gambling, he's in a position of influence, isn't he? And he's there to be corrupted by boxing people. So why don't they come out and say that, the establishment or the powers that be, top brass, instead of pussyfooting around it? Because if you look, nobody wants to give him any work, do they? Because he's had a gambling problem. That's why he's like, book it out. You what?
I saw an article about a year or two ago saying that he'd had a gambling problem and he'd been betting on the fights and doing all that. But then now he's come out saying he's got cancer. So
show me X-rays. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. And people saying, "Oh, Porky, harsh," but it's no different to Fury coming out saying, "I've got mental health issues," and everybody knows that were rubbish. But how can you challenge anybody that says they've got mental health? You're not allowed to challenge them because you're classed as a bully or a cyber bully or an inciter. I know the Fury one's rubbish. Everybody in the industry knows it's a load of shite. He's been like that all his life. It's not just because they tag it with stuff now. Oh, he's OCD, he's whatever. I meant mental health. Why don't you go think about all them people who are in jail who've got mental health issues? Hey, that's proper mental health when you've got a 10 stretch to do or a 5 stretch. You know what I mean? Or you can't give your kids a pair of trainers and they're getting bullied at school. That's where your mental health kicks in and all that. He ain't got any of that. It's knackers. He had to think of a story with all them drug issues hanging over him. That's all it were. But people give him a free pass. Oh, mental health. Oh, I can't come to work. My mum's died. You can't say no to that, can you? You can't sack somebody. It's shit. People make shit up. I don't believe the being cancer thing. I don't believe it. If somebody wants to tell me and show me some proof, I might buy into it. But at the moment, I think it's a load of hogwash. Sorry for saying that. I don't care what other people think. It's my opinion, innit? I don't believe it. He was in a rehab, wasn't he? For gambling addiction. And then next minute, he's got cancer. I'm not having it, mate.
I've never ever liked him anyway. I find him dull. I find him boring. I find his commentary rubbish. I've never liked him anyway. All I'll say is,
they're playing victim card, aren't they? Cancer, mental health, they're playing victims, playing with public's minds. Don't buy into it. Show me him in hospital. Show me him with a shaved bald head with cancer. Load of shit. Load of knackers.
All I'll say is I would hope that he wouldn't lie about it. That's all I'll say.
Listen, I hope he won't, but I don't believe it being Johnny Nelson, Juggies, and all you Team Bean men. I don't believe it. And if you were your pal, he'd be back at Sky. You'd all be coming out on strike for him, wouldn't they? No, we want Bean back. He's been here 28 years. Why are they not wanting him back? Feeling sorry for him. Why are they not giving him Sky dates? Man's trying to get commentary work. So why won't Sky have him back? Because he's got a gambling problem. Come out and say it. Everybody's in denial. I was in denial for years. My mum would say, "You an heroin addict." I say, "You're off your head, you. You're barking." She goes, "You've got all that. What's all that on your teeth?" It's that heroin. We've been on Google. I say, "It's chocolate. Your head's gonna storm off." In the end, you've got to look in the mirror and say it's a manic mirror moment. If Bean's a gambler, so what? He's one at boys. He'd get more respect coming out doing that, wouldn't he? Than giving it the old cancer. And if he has that cancer, I'm wrong. So what? I don't even know the man. Who cares? I don't care. I don't want bullshit on here. Because when that ice breaks, I'll be waiting. You know what I mean? They wind me up. Anyway, who's your fighter at year, Michael?
This year, British or World Fighter of the Year?
World Fighter of the Year.
Ooh. Tough one, that, isn't it? Devin Haney.
Devin Haney is a prick.
Yeah. That's what I reckon.
It's got to be I know you, hasn't it?
Yeah, but see, he's had a couple of fights, but like they didn't turn up to win, I don't think.
Don't you?
No, I don't think anybody ever turns up to beat him. He is good and he's obviously amazing, isn't he? But I don't know. I think Devin Haney had a good year this year. That's my opinion.
What do you think?
Obviously,
go on, sorry.
Inoue is a different level to Devin Haney. Like he's world renowned, like pound for pound list. I don't think Devin Haney's quite that good. And he did beat Lomachenko and then go up, and he fought the best Lomachenko as well. Like he was back to his best, wasn't he? And then he went up a weight and then won the world title at that weight class with an absolute one-sided. Do you know what I mean? He's had a good year. It's debatable, and everyone's got an opinion, haven't they? So,
do you think that? How do I put it? Do you think that? Yeah, I agree with you, mate. Yeah, but I'm going to go for Anayu, but you're going to go for Ainey. Do you think that Ainey like sort of pinches the pocket and he don't engage kind of thing?
Um, he's one of them that, like, you can tell he's like not worried about it, but you can tell he knows he don't want to be hit. Do you know what I mean? He's been wobbled a few times, hasn't he, in a couple of fights, like. Do you know
Mm.
what I mean? That's what I'm saying. He had a very good year because I don't think he's as elite level as Inoue, like you're saying. So I don't think he's like that level. That's why it was such a good year for him, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
he's
do
like one of them that doesn't want to get clipped, you know. You don't say he's like a flat out like scared to be hit, but like he's wary of it, isn't he? Yeah, kind of.
what do you think to Charlie Edwards calling out Paul Butler and they were in the same gym for quite a while?
I don't like that Charlie Edwards, you know.
Don't you? Why not?
I don't know. He's just a bit weird. Like he seems a bit of a jealous bloke, to be honest, to me. Like very jealous. Like remember when he was calling his own brother out and stuff?
Yeah, but aren't they
He
best
was,
now?
yeah, the best mates again now, but he was calling his own brother out and saying if the price is right and all this and whatever. I just like he
Will
seems
that
a bit
on
of a
my
nut.
channel? Will that on my channel? Because I think he said that when I went out for lunch for him a few months ago with lads from Welcome Estates and Joe G. He seemed a nice kid. I could have sworn he said he'd be willing to fight him. But then again, the two brothers, they could work it out, so they'd just probably have a bit of a move around, couldn't they, really?
Yeah,
I
he
think
just
they've had
seems.
a little deal, though. Joe Edwards brothers, they're both world champions and ain't got belts now. And nobody's really bothered about anybody in that weight. And I just think they'll probably drift away now, do you?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I don't think that Sonny Edwards will drift away because he keeps himself relevant with his personality, doesn't he? It's a bit
Yeah.
weird. Like I don't like Charlie Edwards, and I really like Sonny Edwards. Like Sonny Edwards is probably my favourite fighter in the UK.
Well, listen, if you watch Charlie Edwards spar, you'd be impressed. He's really, really good, honestly. To see him spar, we're like our privilege to sit and watch it. Honestly, the technical aspects he's got, mind blowing.
Uh, the only
Really,
thing I will say with both of them, they both say like they don't want like fake fights. They say real fights only, this and that. Well, that Charlie Edwards was calling Yafai out for years, wasn't he? Then he fought that Martinez when he was good. Then obviously you said he was after Paul Butler. Sonny Edwards has just fought that Bam Rodriguez. Like they both actually do try and fight good people, don't they? To be fair
yeah,
to them, do you know what I mean?
yeah, they do. Yeah, yeah, that's correct. They're not hiding, are they? And I think to
No.
be honest, that if Sonny changed it up a bit, maybe he might be able to beat that Bam Bam. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because that was a brilliant fight, by the way. It was absolute top level, wasn't it? That like very, very good top level fight. But in the second round, his eye was that bad. He couldn't really give his normal game plan, could he? He couldn't box how he normally boxes with an eye like that. So you can't really have an. Well, obviously he lost, didn't he? So you can't really make an excuse and say, "Oh well, this, and this." But I would like to see it again with if you knew that I wasn't going to go, I'd like to see it again. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that Sonny Edwards needs to be built up by Eddie fighting in America as B side and then build him up and so he can like headline in UK because he's never going to get a world title again unless he gets probably home advantage, do you think?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Nah, I think that fight, obviously the flyweights in there, is it flyweight? I think that fight then was like one of the first times a flyweight's been top of the bill for, well, probably as long as I've been alive, to be honest. So, like, I think he is quite a good name in America, but there's just no names at that weight class, which helps, doesn't it? Like, the people at that weight class, I think he could still get them to come over to England because you don't get paid a fortune boxing at that weight class, do you? Do you know what I mean?
No, you don't know.
So it's like, well, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be that big to get the champion to travel at the, like say for example, if you're a heavyweight world champion and you come from Mexico or you come from somewhere like that, you're never going to get them to come to England for a fight because it's going to cost you millions and millions. But if you're a flyweight world champion from Mexico, you can get them to go wherever you want for an extra 50 grand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I see where you're coming from. What do you think to that Nathan Heaney?
Um, oh, he's got a good fan base, I know, to be honest. I don't like him because they're all Stoke fans. Well, I don't not like him before I get a load of abuse in the comments. But like, obviously, I'm a West Brom fan and they're all Stoke fans, which is quite close. But he has a good following. They make a lot of noise, and I was absolutely shocked when he beat that Denzel Bentley. To be honest, like that Denzel Bentley's not world class, is he? But I thought he'd beat him, so he's not. He's not bad, is he? I don't think he's a big puncher, though, is he? That's the problem. He don't punch very well, so he's not going to go right to the very top level because he can't. He won't keep him off him. But
Yeah.
I don't know. He might. He'll definitely. I would say he would win a European title. Whether he win a world title, highly doubtful. But
What do you
he's
think
all
to
right.
the noise that he's all right, but what do you think to the noise that he could be mixed to fight Eubank?
To be honest, right now, I think he'd beat Eubank.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I do. Because you can't go off Eubank's last performance because he looked $1 million, but he was basically fighting a punch bag. I would have beat Liam Smith that night. He threw 9, 10 punches in the whole fight. Like he was just basically a corpse in the ring. He couldn't even move,
I don't
didn't
even
even do
remember
anything.
that, was it?
That's
Is
what
it?
I'm saying. So everyone was saying that Eubank was totally like finished, washed up, over the hill, no good, whatever. And then now they're all saying he's all right again because he beat somebody that didn't even fight back.
Yeah, but
So
aren't we hearing that about Anthony Joshua? We Otto Wally.
yeah, that is a fair point. That is a fair point. But but I don't know, like I was in the camp of like, do you know when Eubank fought Conor Benn? Well, was supposed to fight Conor Benn, and then he the fight got called off, but then he still carried on trying to make the weight, and he never made the weight, did he? He always said, "Oh well, I still made the weight." He got down to 157 or whatever it was, or 158.4 or something. It was on the scales anyway. He was less than 160, but he didn't make whatever the weight they agreed was. I always think that was absolutely stupid. That was like in boxing and the way things go. Like overnight, some fighters are just finished. That's just the way that it is. When you take too much weight off and you keep doing it and you keep doing it, or you take a lot of punishment in a fight or whatever, you can just wake up one day and you're not the same. Now, when that happened with Liam Smith, I always thought Liam Smith had beat Eubank, but not like that. And when he knocked him clean out like that, I thought, right, that's it. He's finished now. He's gone. And I haven't still changed my opinion just from the fight against the nobody punching back. Well, obviously, it was Liam Smith, but like somebody that's not going to fight back. My opinion is still that Eubank's finished. So I wouldn't mind seeing it. Nathan Heaney. I reckon he'd be a big underdog and we'd have a few quid on at the bookies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think we're quick to write people off, especially fighters in the boxing industry, when they have a bad loss and if they're past a certain age? Do you think we're quick to sink them?
I've just done it. I've just done it with Eubank, can I say? Yeah, probably. But
I
that's
remember
just.
when Ward beat Froch and everybody were going, he's finished. And I went in and I was saying to myself, I know he weren't. I knew he weren't. I knew he'd come again. And he was more
But there's a big difference in there. There's a
yeah,
big difference between Carl Froch, who was class, top world level, underrated career that's got better and better and better since he's retired, fighting a pound for pound number 1/2, maybe 3, no lower than 5 in the world, and losing on points in America, not being knocked out or anything, to a guy being flattened by a non-puncher from the weight below. Do you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a big difference. And obviously Froch went 7-0 after that and basically,
Yeah.
didn't he? Do you know what I mean? Iced everybody, more or less.
Yeah.
But I just think that maybe I don't know if we're quick to write people off. Are we quick to write Wilder off? Do you think he's really finished, Michael?
Um, that fight with Parker, to me, I was looking at it And sometimes when a fighter loses and gets knocked out, like say AJ against Ruiz, and then for the next 4 or 5 fights, he doesn't pull the trigger. So he's like nervous and tentative because he knows what can happen to him.
Yeah.
When a fighter's not been knocked out before or whatever, they've got no real fear of what's coming. Well, they have got fear, but nothing like fear of what's coming back at them because they've never experienced being knocked out or lost. But then when AJ lost and got knocked out, for the next 4, 5, 6 fights, he's been tentative because he's hesitant about what's coming back. The problem with Wilder is he can't box. He's absolutely rubbish. So his only strength is his punch power. Well, if you're going to be nervous to throw that punch, what do you offer? You offer nothing, do you?
Yeah.
That's the problem with him. He's not finished if he's going to pull the trigger, but if he can't pull the trigger, then you might as well jack it in because he can't box, can he? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Parker. Where do you see him going now? Joseph Parker, because he's in everybody's lips, isn't he? A couple of weeks ago with a stinkinator. Now all of a sudden he's the saviour.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Like, people will always watch Wilder because he can just knock somebody out so horrendously. But I still don't think people will be that bothered about Parker, really. I'm not bothered by him, certainly. I'm not interested in watching him rematch AJ or fight Fury or anything like that. Because the fight with Fury would be rubbish because obviously they're best mates and all that. He's already lost to AJ. He's at a certain level. Like he's been knocked out by Joe Joyce. Like it's so weird because he's just got this win against like what everyone rated as like the biggest, heavyweight and the scariest heavyweight, or one where everyone thought he was going to get knocked clean out and all this. And then now he's like in the mix for a big fight, but I'm not interested in seeing him in any of them big fights because he's had. I think he's still. I think he was one of them where because Wilder didn't pull the trigger, he got made to look better than what he really is again. Do you know what I mean?
You think?
Oh, well, that's my opinion. Yeah, I still think any decent. I still think that Zhang had beat him.
Yeah. How do you see Zang and Wilder happening if that happens? Because they're saying Zang Wilder or Parker Zang, aren't they?
Well, obviously, I think Zhang had absolutely hammer Wilder, but there's always that little minuscule chance of being knocked out, isn't there? Because no matter what happens, Wilder can still put your lights out, can't he? Do you know what I mean?
He
But
says he's retired, but now he's saying he in. So what is it?
I don't know, really. I want to see Zhang v AJ personally.
Well, I do the scripts there from Olympics. AJ beat him in Olympics. It was really his only win. Let's have it right. And why don't they have a rematch? Eddie's going to be selective though, because Zhang's a southpaw, isn't he? They're going to
Yeah,
want
but
to, aren't they?
the only thing is, how old is he now? He's getting up to about 40 odd, isn't he?
Yeah, he's knocking on a bit. He's knocking on a bit now.
He's 40, 41 in May. Looks about 50. Do you know what I mean? Like some of these football players from like the African countries and that, they say they're like 27, but they're actually 35, like. So that Zhang looks about 50, like he looks one of them old-fashioned monks, doesn't he? But he can
Like the
box.
old man Beakers, you remember him?
Yeah, him basically, yeah.
Or Roger Miller.
Yeah. So,
All right.
but he's good. He's never lost, in my opinion. He beat Ergovich, I thought so.
Did you?
Mm.
Okie dokie then. Well, listen, Michael, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having you on. We had a bit of a mix-up this morning, didn't we?
We did, yeah. This is the third time lucky.
Third time lucky, we finally got it done. But listen, thanks for coming on, and we'll do something this week now, yeah? We'll do something week, yeah? Brilliant.
Nice one.
You working
Happy
tomorrow?
New Year to all the boxing fans out there, and I'll catch you soon, Russell.
Are you working tomorrow?
I am, yes. I'm down in High Wycombe in the morning. Lovely High Wycombe.
Oh, go on then, lad. All the way from Birmingham.
I know, yeah.
All right then, Michael. Well, you take care. God bless.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
All right. That was Michael from the Black Country, is it?
Women don't love him. Men don't want to be him. That's because he's a West Ham fan, but he's a nice kid and he speaks clearly on here. Good luck to him. He enjoys it on here. So, what do you reckon? Do you like Michael's performance? I thought he was brilliant. Okie dokie. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Uyaka. I've got the McGowan files on now. Julian. It's going to be an explosive one tonight. This with Julian. Pop, pop, bang!